Hello, welcome to my channel. Thank you for tuning in. If you ask the questions to people around the world, and what are the most important thing in your life or in the lives of someone else, I guess the answer might be different from one person to another, from one country to another. However, there are some basic things that are very, very common around the world, regardless of where you come from, regardless of your background or your country. And one of the top, probably the top five or the top four, would be freedom or liberty. And freedom and liberty is one of the most precious gifts that human needs in order to survive, enjoy life here on earth. And today, I'm going to talk about liberty. If you ask a person who is in prison or in jail, what they need is freedom and liberty. Of course, they would want justice as well. But today, I want to talk about liberty. I'm not going to talk about politics here, but liberty from a Christian perspective, considering the Bible. The basic idea of liberty from a biblical perspective pertain to being liberated from the bondage of sin. Let's look into the Bible. Rome chapter 6. The book of Romans chapter 6 verse, let me read from 17 and 18. I'm going to read it from the NIV. It's called, "But thanks be to God that through you used to be slave to sin, you wholeheartedly obey the form of teaching to which you were entrusted. You have been set free from sin and become slave to righteousness." You have been set free from sin and slave to righteousness. I want you to remember, you are free from sin or set free from sin, but you are slave to righteousness. Freedom. What would be our basis? According to Jesus, freedom or liberty is a spiritual liberty. That's the most important thing for Jesus. Let's look at the book of Luke chapter 4 verse, I'm going to read it from 16. The Gospel of Luke chapter 4 verse 16 to 19. Listen carefully. He went to Nazareth, where he had been brought up, and on the Sabbath day he went into the synagogue, as was his custom. And he stood up to read. The scroll of the prophet Isaiah was handed to him. Unrolling it, he found a place where it is written, "The Spirit of the Lord is on me, because he has anointed me to preach the good news to the poor. He has sent me to proclaim freedom for the prisoners and recovery of the sight for the blind, to release the oppressed, to proclaim the year of the Lord's favor." How many points he's talking about? When the Spirit of God is upon Jesus, then he was anointed to preach. To who? And what? To the prisoners, people who are in prison, spiritually, in prison under sin. If you are prison under sin, probably also your physical as well. And the good news is what? Freedom. So that they will recover from their blindness, so that they will have sight. And what? Release from the oppressed, so that the year of the Lord will be proclaimed. The first point is according to Jesus. Liberty is in a perspective of spiritual liberty. The second thing Jesus taught is to be free from sin and also free from prison. The Gospel of John, chapter 8. Let's look at the Gospel of John, chapter 8, verse 31 and 32. Jesus gives us another way. Let me read from 31. To the Jews who had believed him, Jesus said, if you hold to my teaching, you will really my disciple. If you believe, and he's not talking about belief here. He said, if you hold on my teaching, you are my disciples. Then you will know the truth, and the truth will set you free. He's taking it. You obey my teaching, and then you are my disciple. And when you are my disciple, you will be set free because the truth will set you free. He is talking about the truth himself, and the truth is Jesus. So these are the main 2 points. And what are we supposed to do? Are we supposed to sit down? Are we supposed to just have fun? Are we just supposed to seek for success, worldliness? The book of Galatians, the Apostle Paul talk about if you have freedom, you are called to liberty. The book of Galatians, chapter 5. Let's look at Galatians, chapter 5, verses. I'm going to read only one, verses 13. All right. What does it say? To my brothers, you, my brothers, were called to be free, but you do not use your freedom to endorse the sinful nature. It is possible when you are free and you abuse your freedom, or it's possible when you have the liberty but you abuse it. Is it possible? Yes, according to the Bible. Let's look at First Peter, chapter 2, verses 16. Let's see. It said, live as a free man, but do not use your freedom as a cover for evil. Live as a servant of God. It's dangerous when you are free and you want to abuse your freedom to abuse others, to live under sinful nature in a Christian spiritual term. But it can also apply in the practical realm. For many of us in these days, we hear a lot of fightings going on in different countries, such as in Afghanistan, in Africa, and also in Burma, and now in Russia and Ukraine. If you live in a free country like Australia, New Zealand, Singapore, or in Europe or in America, Paul's implication of the scripture verses is talking to us. If you are free, don't abuse your freedom to prison someone else, but use your freedom to free someone else. Speak about the freedom so that it can free someone else. Are you using your liberty or your freedoms to the benefit of someone else? It's very, very, very important if you live in a free country. You voice out your voice in order to save the lives of many people, spiritually as well as physically. Now, liberty matters in differences. I want to read Colossians chapter 10, verse 29. I'm trying to. Sorry, my book is a little bit sticky now. Chapter 10, verses, let's say, 29. No, 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 sorry. Never mind. Basically, what it's talking about is some would attempt to destroy our liberty in the book of Galatians, chapter 2, verse 1 to 2. People who are trying to destroy the very foundation of freedom and liberty. And when you are free from your sin, the bondage of sin because of Christ, but still there is where the work begins because people are trying to destroy your liberty. The same thing in the physical world. And so, you and I are, as a children of God, we have a mission to carry on. The book of James talk about, but who is to look into the perfect law of liberty and continue therein, he being not a forgetful hearer, but a doer of the word, this man shall be blessed in his deed. Say, not only just hear about freedom, it's talking about experience about freedom. To experience about freedom, do it something. If you live in a free country, if you live in the freedom of the gospel, it's you and I have a duty to carry on. Our mission is to bring the good news to free the prisoners. That's the number one thing. And that's spiritually or spiritual freedom. The second thing would be physical freedom. And that's what the gospel does in the word. It has changed the world. And now it's still changing through you and through me. May I encourage you to bring the good news, to set free the prisoners, to speak truth so that people will know the truth and the truth will set them free. Thank you very much for tuning in. It's my pleasure to bring this story to you in my podcast. If you're inspired by these short videos, please subscribe to my channel, Moantang, Facebook, or Moantang YouTube, or Bible Talk, YouTube and Facebook, or face page. And I hope to see you again next time. Thank you very much.